Test, test, test. I'm recording. Ba, ba, ba.
I am recording. Ba, ba, ba.
I am recording. Ba, ba, ba.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 592nd episode of the Pokemon Podcast. It's super effective. I'm your host, Steve. With me is Hannah.
Getting real close to 600 there.
We are 2 months. Greg also here.
I am also here. We are recording on International Men's Day. So happy International Men's Day to everybody who celebrates. I don't know what that looks like. You're listening to this after it's passed, so you missed it. You missed it. It was too late.
Sure.
Sure is a thing.
It's a thing that's happening right now, today.
It's a thing. This is... I wish we could have like an episode of like sick Black Friday Pokemon deals, but that doesn't like exist. I saw before recording, I saw that Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl was $30 somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you know that is still not worth it.
It might be worth it for people who never played that generation.
Nope. Go find a used copy of Platinum. Nope.
I mean, a used copy of Platinum is probably gonna be $100.
So it's
plus a console to play it on if you only have a Switch.
I mean, there's got to be TCG deals, right? Isn't that a thing they always do for Black Friday?
There is, yeah. Target has a 2 tin pack for the price of 1 tin, which I think is okay. I don't remember which tins they are. They might be the Eevee tins with like Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon. I'm not a Costco shopper. I've been told that Costco has good Pokemon
they do.
tin stuff. We actually have Pokemon news this episode, Pokemon TCG news this episode. So
if you need me to take you to Costco to look at their Pokemon tins and other Pokemon card deals, I can do that.
They do have good big Pokemon boxes.
I'm going to do some on the ground reporting today and check out that new Toys R Us in Mall of America that just opened.
Did I send you their TikTok of them saying our new flagship store is opening?
Yeah,
and you'll never guess where it is. And I'm like, it's Mall of America because I walked past it.
Apparently, it's 2 stories too.
Yeah,
which seems okay. If you guys don't know, Toys R Us is still owned by the same company who closed them for bankruptcy.
Yep.
Which is what, like JD Holdings or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what the plan is here.
To make a quick buck for the holidays and then to close them again.
To close them all again? Yeah, probably.
The company that bought Toys R Us last minute and then squeezed every penny out of it before shutting it down is currently it's a liquidation company. That's all they do with other companies is they buy them, they extort as much money as possible, and then they file for bankruptcy to whatever tax loophole that they go for. They currently own GameStop. If you're wondering what GameStop's future is going to be, probably the same as Toys R Us.
Yep.
But there are Toys R Us still in like Japan and Canada. They are not owned by the same extortion company that they were here in the US. So
because it was Bain Company, which is Mitt Romney's company, somebody else and somebody else. Because there were 3. All I remember is Bain Capital because it was Mitt Romney's company. And then they were owned by Macy's for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
They have like a long... That company's been passed around a lot. Because it used to be FAO Schwartz, CEO, ran it. And then they split into Baby and Toys R Us, which was a bad idea because it really hurt your Toys R Us business. And then Bain Capital, somebody and somebody. I should probably look that up.
WHP Global is who currently owns Toys R Us, and they're reporting, I guess our first bit of news is Toys R Us. They're reporting 24 flagship stores around the US. They are planning some of these 24 stores to be in airports or on cruise ships, which I know there are some listeners that are very big in the cruise ship scene. I guess I've never been on a cruise ship because I'm terrified of boats and I cannot swim. So I guess cruise ships have stores. I didn't think of that, but when I read that kind of makes sense that they would have stores. But
Oh yeah, you're trapped there. It's like an airport.
Oh, so WHP company bought that whole brand in 2020 something, 2020, 2019. So it's not the same people that liquidated them.
Oh, okay. They did sell.
It has passed hands.
Got
it. The company came out of bankruptcy, changed the name to True Kids. And then
if you're buying something, aren't you just buying it for the brand name?
Look, they buy it and then they rebrand it and then they come out a couple of years later when they think marketing's good to go back to the most recognized name, like, hey, we're back, which is exactly what they're doing. But True Kids worked a lot with getting stuff into Target and Walmart and stuff, which was their main primary competitors. So it's interesting to sort of see where they're going with this. Anyways, they've been opening stores since 2021. The next big one will be at Mall of America. It won't last past the holidays because most things that open for the holidays in Mall of America do not last past the holidays at Mall of America.
There have been some stores in Mall of America where you're like, wow, you're still open.
Wow, you're a drug friend.
You're still doing it. I think Toys R Us will be fine in Mall of America.
It will for the holidays, and then
you don't think it'll go past that? I mean, that like board game store up there lasts. That like puzzle store, which is also owned by that board game store, is still going.
I mean, Games by James just lives in malls. Like,
yeah, the Legacy Toys place is still doing its thing. They got a giant giraffe in there that you can take a picture of.
But
not
Legacy
to be confused
Toys,
with the Toys R Us
Legacy
giraffe.
Toys is totally like, hey, remember when you used to think that playing with wooden horses was fun? Legacy Toys is here.
They got Pokemon
to fill
cards
that
in
need.
Legacy Toys. They were on
I
sale.
give it the same chance that the Go calendar shop and the Go toy shop has for lasting past the holidays.
That's like the spirit Halloween of like Go calendar is very much. We need to sell calendars before the New Year's because that's our optimal calendar selling time.
Mm-hmm.
Is before the year changes over. They're very strategic. It's like Spirit
Halloween.
Yeah.
In and out.
I have very fond memories of Toys R Us because that was where I actually, as a child, socialized with other children when my parents would take me there and then try to like hassle the kids for good trades. I wasn't allowed to trade. My parents didn't think I was smart enough to trade, so my parents would be like in charge of the trades. I was a very controlled
of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Okay.
The cards.
I used to go to KB Toys because Toys R Us wasn't a thing.
I remember KB Toys.
KB Toys. That's where we put two Teddy Ruxpins next to each other, and we said something in one Teddy Ruxpin, then you turned it to each other, so they repeated back and forth and slowly devolved into unintelligible speech. Good times.
And then there was Funko Land.
Yeah, good old Funko Land. Did you ever go to a B. Dalton's? Because that's the bookstore of my youth. B. Dalton's bookstore.
Borders for me.
Yeah.
Borders is like all shut down, right?
Pretty sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
They don't have like one remaining like Blockbuster or something. All right. Let's move on to our Pokemon Sleep news here. Did anyone get an Onyx?
Nope.
Were we all on Taupe?
I was
Yes.
on Taupe Island. I'm mad at my little device because it messed up like 4 times this week, and I don't know why. So The game is quickly becoming dead to me.
User error.
Maybe one
How
of your
is it
dogs
user
stepped
error
on it.
when it is next to my head on the bed and only says, when I hit it in the morning, it shuts off. It says, that was only 3 hours. No, it wasn't. I went to bed at 11. I turned you on. I woke up at 8.
You
That
need a
was
camera
not
in
3
your
hours.
bedroom to see what your dogs are doing around your head at 4
No,
a.m.
no cameras, no TVs in the bedroom.
Clearly it's a dog issue then, if it's not a you issue.
Are
I did
you
have
attacking
Archer.
my wonderful dogs?
I did have Archer turn mine off once in the last 2 weeks. He just plopped right on top of it and powered
Yeah.
it off.
My Trillium likes playing with the wrist strap on it. So at this point, I have a pillowcase with a zipper. I just put it inside the pillowcase when I'm asleep.
Being on Taupe Island, Taupe Hollow, it's the worst experience ever.
No.
There's
You
nothing.
Cute Ryu. I got a Shuppet. What are you talking about? I got a
I
Shuppet.
would love to have gotten a Shuppet. I'm in Gulpin and Crogunkville, and neither are good. I don't want.
I had a cute Houndour lying
don't
on
want
its
that either.
back, showing its belly to me this morning, and I'm like, "What a good puppy!"
I got a shiny Jigglypuff. I got a whole bunch of Geodudes and Larvatars and Riolu, and I'm happy. I like this place.
I cannot stand so many Ekans.
Ekans is great, though. I don't think I'm ever going to use it, but it sleeps really adorably.
Yeah. So we didn't get any new news for the Eevee event. It is supposed to kick off on Monday the 20th at 4 a.m. Are these times right? I'm pretty sure that the days reset at 4, but I feel like now the days reset at 3 because of daylight savings time.
That's very likely.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm questioning if these times are correct. I think the new restart in America is 3 a.m. and not 4 a.m. anymore, which I actually literally and figuratively changed my sleep schedule around sleep because I realized 4 a.m. was just bad for sleep because that's when the thing reset. And I physically changed my sleep schedule to 3:15 a.m. So I'd go to bed a little earlier. I'd make sure Pokemon Sleep is okay. Archer is really on board with the new sleep time. I was doing it for a month. And now 3:15, which is my new bedtime, is daylight savings time has ruined me.
Daylight saving time has ruined everything. It's bad and it needs to go away.
That's true. They might fix it because I think 4 a.m. is intended to be the time when the day turns over.
I think so, yes.
So I hope they would fix it. I haven't seen that in their recorded bugs, but I also haven't looked at that in a little while. They're good at fixing things. This is a good team.
I'll tweet at them. Be like, hey, is this 3
hey.
a.m. intentional? It's really messing up my Riolu finding. All right, the Eevee event is starts on Monday at 4 a.m. It goes until the first part goes until Tuesday until 4 a.m. And then Eevee Day will be Tuesday, November 21st to the 22nd, and then we'll go back to normal Eevee stuff. So it's supposed to be a 7-day event. For the non-Eevee days, you will have a greater appearance rate for Eevee and its evolutions during sleep research. A few Pokemon of different sleep types will appear regardless of researchers' sleep type for the day. You may encounter a shiny Eevee. Main skills for all helper Pokemon are 1.5 times more likely to be triggered. And then on Eevee Day, which is the 21st, greater appearance for Eevee and its evolutions. Many Pokemon of different sleep types will appear. You may encounter a shiny Eevee. You will also get 1,121 bonus points, and main skills will be 1.5 times more likely to trigger. Greater appearance of Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon, Espeon, Umbreon, Leafeon, Glaceon, and Sylveon. It says the appearance rate of Eevees will apply to all areas, but Grass Island will be focused on Jolteon, Leafeon, Sylveon. Scion Beach will be Vaporeon. Top Hollow will be Flareon, Espeon, Umbreon. And if you've unlocked Snowdrop Tundra, that will be Glaceon. You will only be able to see one sleep style for each Flareon and Leafeon. The other sleep styles will be viewable in a new area that will be added in the future. So I guess they're confirming a new area. I do think Vaporeon is one of the better. I think it's like Vaporeon, Sylveon, and Umbreon are like the top 3 EVs. And Leafeon is like the worst.
Boo!
Fun fact about it's not like the worst, but because Eevee, I didn't know this. Eevee is the one Pokemon where when you evolve it in Pokemon Sleep, its skill changes. So Eevee has like ingredient finder and it gets a bunch of milk. And I had a really good one, but it was getting all of the. It was like a milkman Eevee. It was getting all the milk. It had like some gold skills.
All the milks.
I loved it. I was like, oh, I have a Leaf Stone. I'll evolve it to Leafeon without knowing that its ability changes. And now I have a semi-useless Leafeon. And I could have had a really cool... I could have waited for anything else. This does not happen with other Pokemon. It's just Eevee. If your Charmander is a sausage machine, when you evolve it, it will continue to be a sausage machine.
Heck yeah. Happy International Men's Day.
87% male, 12.5% female.
There's an Eevee event in Masters. Get the Eevee kid from Galar for no apparent reason.
Elaine. Her name is Elaine.
Hey, I was going to ask you, quick quiz. Did you know who the protagonist in Let's Go Eevee's name is? It's Elaine. There's 2, because there's Elaine who was released, and then there's Eevee kid from Galar who was also released, you can get for free.
Yeah, the person who's just dressed up in the Eevee onesie.
The
That's
Eevee
pretty
onesie
cool.
Kid.
That's not like a 5-star sync pair, right?
No, it's a 3-star kid. The kid's 3 stars. Elaine and Penny are 5-star EXs, so you can get them up to 6.
Speaking of Eevee, there was the 7-star Eevee and the Eevee mass outbreaks. I don't think either of these events are repeating. They only announced one weekend, and normally when they announce this stuff, they announce 2. But that's not the case. But maybe it's going to repeat, and they just haven't said that yet. Unless, it is Sunday, so maybe at 6 p.m. on Sunday they announce another event. But I don't know why they wouldn't want to repeat it over the holiday. But
fair point. I mean, this is the one weekend closest to Eevee Day itself, but yeah, holiday would be a helpful time to have it going.
Like this I guess this is like the technical aspect of 7 stars because 7 stars because I don't know if people pay that much attention. I also feel like the average Pokemon person does this once and then never does it again. Which is like fine. Like that's not me like criticizing. It's totally understandable, right? As somebody who does it, 50, 60, 70 times to try to max out shards, or I think it was giving HP up. Stuff that I find useful because I play the game a lot. This is the second time, the first time being was Typhlosion, where the boss only picks one Pokemon to target. And it's weird. I don't know like what the reasoning for that is. So let me explain. So when you fought Cinderace would always bulk up on turn 0, and then it would Pyro Ball everyone on turn 0. So you had to survive like a +1 Pyro Ball. That was its first turn. And then Greninja, something a little different. Greninja would open up with Toxic Spikes. Obviously, that would apply to everyone. And then it would double team. And I could go on for each one. Like Pikachu would open up with Rain Dance, and then it would use Surf. Surf would hit everyone. in the Typhlosion, it was the first raid where it opened up and it used a move. It used Will-O-Wisp, and it only Will-O-Wisped one Pokemon. And depending on what it did, if Will-O-Wisp hit, it would use Sunny Day. If Will-O-Wisp didn't hit, it would wait till turn 2 to Sunny Day. And I just don't, like, I don't know why it just wouldn't Will-O-Wisp everyone. Like, it was weird that it would just like, I'm going to 1 in 4 chance of if you're going to get Will-O-Wisped. And Eevee did the same thing in the Typhlosion, where it opens with Baby Doll Eyes, but it only picks one Pokemon to do that to. And we talked about how, like, last week, or not last week, well, last 7-star raid, the raid boss would kind of be like, the Typhlosion was a little dumb in like trying to use like fire type moves on a like well-baked body or flame or flash fire Pokemon. And you would think that the CPU would go, oh, this didn't work the first time, I'm going to change and not use this again. And maybe the Eevee, like, they're programmed in a way that I can't necessarily pinpoint, because I brought Galarian Zapdos which has Defiant, and it's like, okay, 1 in 4 chance of Baby Doll Eyes, didn't Baby Doll Eyes me, so I don't get the Defiant boost, which is fine because it resets it pretty quickly anyways. But then it didn't charm me at all, and it didn't Baby Doll Eyes me again. So I was like, oh well, the Defiant thing, not that big of a deal. But then I heard like Annihilate players being like, oh yeah, it charmed me nonstop, and that's great, which it's not, because if you get charmed, that's -2, and your Defiant just puts you back at +2, so you're actually not going anywhere. So it charming you doesn't actually matter. But like, how is it determining whether to charm or not to charm / Baby Doll Eyes? It's just, there is some intelligence programmed in these bosses, but at the same time, when people ask for Pokemon games to be like harder or more challenging, it's really hard for that to like, you have so much choice in what you're bringing, right? Like, if you're going against Brassius and you're bringing, a fire type Pokemon, you clearly have the advantage, right? If you want that to be harder, you can go against Iono with like water Pokemon, right? That's going to be a little bit more challenging since you have the disadvantage. But at the same time, when the computer makes really, I think that's what takes people away, is like, oh, I'm Will-O-Wisped, and the move you decided to use is you just burned me with Will-O-Wisp. Why are you pressing Will-O-Wisp again? I think, like, I don't mind if it's okay, this is a little bit harder or this is a little bit easier. I think for me, what takes me out of it is when the computer makes the most obviously wrong play, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, there are definitely times when the AI shows that it is AI and it wasn't made particularly well, and those are very off-putting. When you're just like, okay, like, I know this is computerized, and I know, all right, fine, I get it. Like, the problem is, I think, compounded in this generation, when they have really well designed encounters and really well designed raids, it makes the ones that do that feel like they just sort of phoned it in a little bit. Like, before, when everybody was bad and you're just like, that's just how the computer is, and they've never really cared about programming intelligent trainers because, they don't want you to get stuck on something that you can never get past, frustration, blah, 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 blah. I think it's harder to swallow that now when you are supposed to be doing harder content that you are deliberately designing to be more difficult, and they make choices that remind you of the old way where they didn't really care much, or it was just like the computer wasn't programmed very well. I think that just reads poorly at that level. It was, it's sometimes it is randomized, like they have some randomizations in there, because there's a few times when I've been raiding where I'm like, why would the boss do that again right now? But generally in raids, those are much more party-wide affecting. It's like, well, I just did this so I can do it again, but it's still a challenge. When it does, but Pokemon does that weird thing where when it does something again, often it's not a challenge, and that just feels bad.
Yeah, I would also assume that when they're because I do enjoy what the 7-star puzzle is, because at the end of the day it's just like what is the puzzle, and we went from like, I think back to Mewtwo, where I streamed Mewtwo, and I was in a hotel, and I hit going live, and within seconds I had 1,000 people watching, right? Because Mewtwo was so, people like Mewtwo a lot,
Yeah.
right? And so it was stressful for me, not because there 1,000 people were there, but because I was in a hotel room on a 15-inch MacBook and having like a Twitch chat on my iPad. Like, I'm not in front of this huge like 36-inch display with my normal setup, right? So I'm stressed because I'm on this very small computer in a hotel room with now 1,000 people asking how are we going to do Mewtwo, and the amount of people that were like, this is too hard, and me thinking, well, it's only been out for 15 minutes. There's no way you've done it twice because it's a 10-minute raid. So you've failed it once and then admitted that it's too hard, when it's like, it's, at a certain point, like I got Mewtwo down to being able to beat it in like 4 minutes, right? We had 60% of the timer left. It's a 10-minute raid, because we figured out the puzzle and then we optimized the puzzle. How can we solve the puzzle even faster? And so the problem, the scenario with Mewtwo was the puzzle wasn't obvious right away. With something like Eevee, you would think that Game Freak is like, okay, this is a normal type Pokemon with a normal Terra type. The two Pokemon that are probably being brought the most would be Iron Hands and Annihilate. Like, they must know which Pokemon are coming, but they didn't have like any solutions for those Pokemon. And maybe, they don't care, but I think that's like, you look at all of Eevee's moves and you're like, oh, it gets Yawn. If it does put you to sleep, that would slow you down. And obviously, if you're racing against the timer, that would be the one advantage Eevee would have. And they don't even give it Yawn. And it's like, okay, the Defiant thing with Annihilate's not like that big of a deal because it just cancels each other out. And then you think of Iron Hands. And that's why I was like, oh, critical hit Iron Hands would be really good, because if you're -6 attack, doesn't matter, you're critical hitting. And so like my takeaway from that of like teaching people is like, hey, did you know? Because maybe some people don't. There's lots of people that don't, right? There are still people that I have to explain what stab is, like what is same type attack bonus. Like, that's fine. Like, people are always learning. This might be their first Pokemon game. This might be their first game where they're actually building a Pokemon for a raid. So I do think at the end of the day, 7-star raids are great, because they are teaching you things that, like, from point A to point B to credits don't teach you, right?
Yeah, they don't do a very good job at teaching you in game, though. Like, they aren't.
Sure.
They aren't particularly open. I mean, we still can't sort of see the whole who's bringing levels. Like, they teach you in the fact that you have to go elsewhere to figure out how to do it, right? And I don't necessarily think that's teaching. I think that is, they just make a thing and rely on their fans and community to do work for free for people to be able to play their content, which I don't think is a particularly great business model. It's great for content creators, though.
There is that. I am a little bit curious whether this whole situation where the Eevee is only targeting one person at first and the Typhlosion is only targeting one person at first, I'm very curious whether they have intentionally made things a little bit easier in that way.
Mewtwo?
Maybe because of Mewtwo, maybe because of whatever other stats they were seeing with how many people were doing the raids over time. I'm just curious if the raids are going to continue to be easier than they were, say, before Typhlosion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they have to know how many people are doing it, how many people are completing it. what is the most popular Pokemon people are bringing. Like, they have to know all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And now that Eevee has so Eevee, the interesting thing about Eevee 2 is it's the first 7-star that has repeated its a Terra type already used. So Rillaboom had the normal Terra type, and so Eevee having normal is a repeat. So I think the ones the Terra types that have not been used are Steel, Dark, Electric, and I think Ground. I think those are the last 4 that have not been used. Obviously, we got Hisuian Typhlosion and we got Hisuian Decidueye, and we're waiting on Hisuian Samurott. So it's very likely. I mean, like if I was to put, you know, if I was to put something on red or black, I'm pretty much going like Hisuian Samurott has to be water, even though that's repeating, because that would match the theme that they did with Typhlosion and Decidueye, which Typhlosion was fire and Decidueye was grass. But before this Eevee would have came out, you would have thought like, oh, maybe it's going to be dark because they already did water and they haven't done dark yet. But
the water was a little bit different because that was the Pikachu one.
Yeah, and it was a fun one for Pikachu. So
and this Eevee one's a little bit different, so the repeat there kind of makes sense.
Yeah. So I would assume we have DLC in less than a month. We still have a couple weekends left. I would assume that Typhlosion Samurott would probably come before that. We still don't have Roaring. Oh gosh, what are they called? The Raikou with the neck and the Iron Crown and what is it?
I don't remember what they're called. At the tip of
my tongue. The fact that I remembered the Cobalion over the Raikou.
Well, they all start with iron.
Design.
Is it?
So I wonder. I don't think we're gonna get those before the DLC at this point.
No.
I think that is like DLC is out. These Pokemon come out because that is going to get people to come back, and then.
Well, they still have the last set of 2 that is undoubtedly going to be announced and come out. I really thought that this set of the Raikou and the Cobalion paradoxes was going to go with the first DLC.
Yeah.
And Raging Bolt.
Raging Bolt.
That's it.
And are they going to do Walking Wake and Iron Leaves again? Are we going to be able to catch more than one? There are still people out there that don't have Walking Wake. Like if you look at the Pokemon Home GTS, like Walking Wake is like one of the most requested Pokemon because it came once. And people struggled with that. I mean, again, probably people listening to the show, they're like, oh, I did all the 7 stars. They've all been easy. I did my Walking Wake. But there are people who don't have YouTube resources or Twitch resources or Discord servers or friends that they don't, or just a news outlet to be like, hey, you have a very limited time to get no one cares about Iron Leaves. Hey, you got a very limited time to get Walking Wake.
Rude.
So like if they bring Walking Wake back, does everyone get a chance? Is it only people that didn't get it? It's like I regret as a player who bought both Scarlet and Violet I regret not doing it twice. I should have went to my other game and did it. And I didn't do that. So like I didn't maybe in the DLC you can just get as many Walking Wakes as you want. Maybe there's some underground paradox area where they're walking around with like Roaring Moon or something. I don't know. But like
eventually they'll come out in Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like 10 years down the road.
10 years down the line, they'll
then you can spend $1 per Walking Wake.
Although Pokemon Go does have more Paldea Pokemon than it has Galarian Pokemon at this point, so
yeah. Okay. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. And we are back from our break. They announced Paldean Fates. This is some TCG news. Which is the I know, not a DLC. Not the DLC you were expecting. So they do this where they release these special sets. Paldean Fates is supposed to come out in January, and they will feature 240 cards, 130 shiny Pokemon, including shiny Pikachu, shiny Ceruledge, shiny Tinkaton, and shiny Dondozo and shiny Tatsugiri. We'll get back to that in a second. 11 shiny Pokemon EX, including the Terra Charizard EX, Terra Fortress EX, and Terra Espathra EX. 7 Pokemon EX and 3 Pokemon EX, including Great Tux EX, Iron Treads EX, and Espathra EX. 3 illustration cards featuring shiny Pokemon and 8 special illustration cards featuring shiny Pokemon EX or supporters. 6 hyper rare cards of select Pokemon EX featuring a new and unique raised foil, which is kind of cool. And then a handful of full art supporter cards. This is based off Japan's version of Shiny Treasure EX, which comes out on December 1st. This is the third. This is off Poke Beach, if I didn't say that. This is the third English set to feature Fates in its name. 2019 was Hidden Fates. 2021 was Shining Fates, and then this is Paldean Fates. So I don't say they. It's not like they do this often. It seems like they do this about every 2 years, even though it does feel like often, just because they come out with a lot of cards. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is the 4 Pokemon they decided to feature on the cover of these, which is Pikachu. Obviously, we all love shiny Pikachu. Not, subtle shiny, but a very common Pokemon. Dondozo, which turns from its blue to white. Very obvious, hard to miss. Tinkaton, which the shiny is its hammer.
Yeah.
Turns from silver to a copper, which is cool.
Clever.
And then they decided to put Ceruledge on the cover, which...
If you don't know, it's shiny as its eye.
Yeah. I have one. And every time I'm like, what is different about... Oh, right, the eyeball. I only see its back, so...
That was a choice.
Oh yeah, that was definitely a choice.
There's a lot of iconic Pokemon that they could have put, like Cloth. Now, I don't think Cloth is iconic, but I would say that in the marketing aspect, a lot of people know who Cloth is. If you're a person who has only played the first part of the game, which is a lot of people buy a game and only get like literally 10% and they drop off. You probably saw Cloth at least. That's the first thing you fight. The very
Depending
good
on
shiny.
which direction you go in, you can go in the whole other direction.
True.
Yeah.
But a very good shiny. But they they decided to put Ceruledge on the cover.
And Charizard. Not on the same cover, but they do feature Charizard. They do feature a shiny Charizard when...
That was the Hidden Fates one.
Okay.
Those are the older packs, yeah.
My bad.
And then they're releasing tins, and I just want to point out the Pokemon in the tins. So one is Flamigo, which it's a lighter pink, very, I think, obvious. Palafin, which is a darker blue, good. Tink gets more representation. What was this one called? Tinkatot? What's the little one called?
Tink? What's that?
I don't think it's that, but I'm very into that. I don't think it's Tinkadink. But it should be.
It's Tinkatink.
That was close.
Tinkatink.
Tinkatink. Tinkatuff. Tinkaton.
Got it. Tinkatot. I feel like Tot makes sense. He's a little
I
tot.
mean,
and then we have Smoliv, which has the black olive on the top of its thing. Very obvious. And then they decided to put Mousehold, which again, arguably, if we're thinking 90 some Pokemon in Paldea, who have the worst shinies? The top 3 are probably Ceruledge, Mousehold, and somebody else I can't think of right now, but like
Armor Rouge isn't great either.
right, yeah.
Here's the thing. Mousehold, Smoliv, and Tinkatink all seem very angry at their shiny counterpart. They do not seem happy that these shinies exist because they do all seem to be yelling at them for unknown reasons.
Yeah, I had thought that was going to be all the tins, but it's not all the tins. It's just those 3.
It's just those 3. Palafin's like, cool. Different color, great. Flamigo's just happy to be here. Happy to be included.
Yeah. No, it's just...
They're just mad.
Titan has a good shiny. Cloth has a good shiny. Espathra has a good shiny. Greavyard has a good shiny. And they were like, Cerulege, Mousehold. It like I don't think there's an oversight there. I think it's just, let's put the bad shinies on the thing because we know that people will talk about it. We're doing it right now. We fell for their trap. Lechonk has a good shiny.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like they were like, boy, which ones do we do? The choices were made.
Sure were.
But yeah, another set, another Charizard. They people would be like, why? But you know the answer to that question.
We all know the answer to that question.
Like, they're a company. And Charizard is going to sell more booster packs than Girafarig. I'm sorry, Girafarig lovers. Your boy's just not selling packs like Charizard is. It's just, why would you not keep relying on your heavy hitter? Look, if you like Finneon, that's great. That's fine. Start buying all the Finneon merch. Anytime they put out a plush, you buy it all until it's sold out.
What do you think I do every day of my life? My Finneon collection is enormous and it's not moving the needle.
You should be recording in your Finneon dedicated room. I know you have, Greg.
It's true.
400 and counting Finneon sitting cuties in that room.
I'm lousy with sitting cuties of Finneon.
This seems exciting. I always like these shiny boxes or whatever. They are a nice thing where, if you're not super into the TCG, it's still fun to pick up a couple packs and have a pretty decent time.
It's 240 cards a lot. It feels like a lot.
It is.
Because this is more than 240 cards, which is probably like 243.
No, it's probably like actually 260 because they don't count any secret.
Oh, right.
Yeah, any secret rares are not technically counted. Shiny Treasure, the Japanese set, had 190. So this is 50 more cards, but it's because we still have to play catch up with Japan when it comes to that kind of stuff. So Pokemon cards, an expensive hobby.
Hence one I know very little about it.
Mm-hmm.
It is if the takeaway here is still they featured Pokemon that have very terrible shinies, and that was definitely intentional.
The art also keeps getting better.
Yeah. Yeah, I really can't say anything bad about the TCG in this state. The art looks good. The sets coming out are great. The only bad thing is it costs money. But hey, that's everything in the world, so.
Yep.
Speaking of things that I could say bad things about, Pokemon Go, they're updating part. No, this is actually like this is actually like a really good update. They're updating Party Play again, from Wednesday, November 22nd to Monday, November 27th. You can squad up with Party Play, with 4 people. There will be a special. Oh, this is if you don't get the Master Ball, you
Mhm.
can then buy to continue the Master Ball investigation. I see.
Mhm.
This is not new. They've done this before with other things that you don't complete. 5 special trades can be made a day during this event. More additional candy for trading, double XP for battles, guaranteed XL candy, timed research will give you Hisuian Growlithe and Wurmple. Wild encounters, Gothita, Solosis, Morlul, Sprigatito, Fuecoco, Quaxley, Lechonk, Nimble, Palmy, Smoliv, and Tadbulb. Kangaskhan, Mega Kangaskhan is coming to Raids, which is good for people who are stuck on the Mew quest because they're missing Kangaskhan. What's the other thing people are missing? Farfetch.
Ditto.
Ditto. And then there'll be showcases featuring Sprigatito, Fuecoco, Quaxley, all of that stuff. Did I miss this did not include the route stuff. Party Play works with routes now, right? That was the...
They did announce that.
Yeah, it's not in here, though.
Yeah, I thought it was all in one article here. But isn't that part... Is the routes thing coming at a later date? Am I dreaming? Was there no routes update?
You're not dreaming. They announced it. They're not updating their news blog as much as they used to. They're putting
They got rid of that
I would
person.
say, too many things on social media, especially on a social media platform that increasingly fewer people are using.
Well, according to Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, Sports Illustrated with the top link here. Jeez.
Yeah, according to Sports Illustrated.
I believe the route update rolls out the same time.
Yeah, it doesn't
That
give
would
a
make
date,
sense.
but it would
I'm
seem...
fully expecting it to break something.
Oh, hardcore.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
These are two different new features, neither of which have been completely bug proof, all of which have been pretty bug infested. And I can't imagine them going together and not breaking something. I would say if you have saved teams, if you have saved tags, maybe take screenshots of everything just in case, because we've already seen Party Play mess with that. But
according to LeakDuck, it is available now. Trainers can now follow routes using Party Play. You may have to restart your app. This was just a couple days ago.
Nice. I know that some people had been asking for it, so that's a good thing. I'm surprised I didn't hear about it breaking anything. Kind of disappointed there.
Yeah, well, give it time.
Yeah. So that's happening. And then Mareep Community Day is this upcoming weekend. Classic Community Day. So Saturday, November 25th from 2 to 5. Mareep is going to be featured. You'll have the Community Day $1 story. Mareep Showcase. Your events are incubators will be 1/4 the hatch distance. Lure module 3 hours. Take a surprise. No bonus special trade. So you still get your 1 because classic. But yeah.
And its special move that you get when you evolve it to Ampharos is actually not the best move for PvP. So no need to rush to evolve it while the event is going on.
Perfect. Greg, where are we at Unite?
There's been a ton of leaks. Still no announced date for Meowscarada. Still no announce if we're getting a new map. Like, we're in a kind of a quiet period where we know Meowscarada's coming. They haven't said when. They're not doing an Eevee event for Eevee week, so we're just sort of in the middle of a season and just sort of existing. Yeah, they did the Eevee stuff.
They had one in the middle of the year.
They did one during the summer.
Yeah.
When they had Umbreon and Leafeon come.
Yeah.
So we did it then, and I thought, well, maybe they'd bring it back, but it doesn't seem like they are. and we are just waiting on announcements for what's like. They have to be working on something. They just haven't bothered to tell us what. Blaziken gets a new outfit, which is causing a stir across the internet because most people didn't realize that Blaziken had a tail.
It's such a good outfit, though.
It
If
is
I
a good
could,
outfit.
I would go back to Unite and get that Blaziken with that outfit.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can give it money and not play.
I don't have the money. I can't give it money.
Yeah, we are waiting on Meowscarada. We are waiting on official announcement of what ones are coming next. There are leaks. If you really want to go see them, if you trust in that, but there's a lot of leaks out there that are causing a lot of confusion because we just don't really know what's true and what's not right now. But they've been particularly quiet about a lot of things. Like it's been, wow, probably a couple. Like the last thing that they really announced was, hey, Comfy gets a new Hollowware. That was the 7th. And then it's like, here we are on the 18th. Blaziken gets an outfit, but like no announcements of when Meowscarada or any of the new ones are expected to hit. So we don't know. Like since Halloween, they've been really, really quiet.
Big Christmas event coming out.
I mean, we know there's going to be some sort of winter holiday event coming up, so we know that is, and they could be quiet simply because they're planning for that and they want to do a big announcement. So we'll have to see, but it's been pretty quiet. They've been, the big change. This was the big announcement that they did do in their most recent patch when they said, we don't know why the Kanto starters evolved at a different time than all the other starters in the game. So we fixed that. So now Blastoise, Venusaur, and Charizard evolve into their final form at level 7 and not level 9 like they used to.
Oh.
So that was a big change that they just put in.
That sounds helpful.
Don't know why they were ever different, but they have since corrected that to be in line with all of the other starters. So if you've played those characters, they are much more playable now with this change because they get their stat boosts 2 level earlier, so that you will not be wondering why you still have a Char. Still have. Why is there an Ivysaur? Why are you still War Turtle? Why are you still Charmeleon for an inappropriate amount of time? So now they fix that, so those 3 will evolve at level 7, which is it's a very nice change. But that was in patch notes, and they did another bunch of rebalancing. So I think overall the gameplay is in a good spot. But not much new is happening right now, and we are just waiting for announcement dates.
Okay, sounds good. Well, that'll be our episode for y'all today. If it's short for you, that's because another episode is coming out later this week. So that's why. But thanks for making it to the end. If you are doing nothing on Thanksgiving, which is November 23rd, or your country / city, state, province doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving, I'm going to be streaming on Thanksgiving on Twitch. So I have definitely been alone for the holidays, and it sucks, even if you don't really care about that holiday. So if you need something to do, if you don't want to be alone, I will be live on twitch.tv/PKMNcast. Or if you're just sick of your family, which is another common thing on the holidays, and you need something to watch that isn't football. I think mostly football is played on Thanksgiving. That's like the main thing on American TVs, I believe. And you don't want to watch football, I'll be playing Pokemon. So that'll be the plan. But yeah, come swing on by if you're bored. But that's the plan this week. Otherwise, have a good Mareep Community Day Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Hannah. We will see you all next week. This has been another episode of the Pokemon Podcast, and we are
super effective.
Super happy Eevee Day. Time to catch Eevee in your sleep. Effective.
Happy Eevee Day.
It's not till the 21st.
I mean, when this comes out, it'll be tomorrow.